'Twas the night before Christmas. No longer was there a frown, for a new arrival was summoned at Fleetwood Town. He made everyone smile, man, woman and child. He was here to win, and his name was Pete Wild. Charlie Adam has been sacked as Fleetwood Town manager, and not too long after that news broke, up steps the former Barrow, Oldham and Halifax Town manager as he's ready to take on the challenge of managing the Cod Army. In this video, we're going to talk about everything surrounding the League Two football club, including a bit of analysis on the new manager, my thoughts on the sacking of Charlie Adam, and my overall thoughts on the direction of the club. Before we get started though with this early Christmas present, I need you all to do one thing for me, since it is the season of giving. Make sure you like the video if you loved it, make sure you comment your thoughts down below, subscribe if you're new around here, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. And for now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into this video, and we'll start by talking about the sacking of Charlie Adam. Fleetwood Town Football Club has announced the departure of manager Charlie Adam following a series of disappointing results. Appointed in December 2023, Adam's tenure lasted just under a year, during which the team experienced significant challenges, including relegation from League One. He's widely recognised for his playing career, notably contributing to Blackpool's promotion to the Premier League and securing a League Cup victory with Liverpool. His managerial stint at Fleetwood Town was his first foray into football management. Under Adam's leadership, Fleetwood Town struggled to find consistent form, securing only one victory in their past 11 league matches. This poor run of results has left the club positioned 18th in League Two, merely 8 points above the relegation zone, and the board with no option. So then, Charlie Adam is gone from Fleetwood Town. Now, my first opinions was with the run of results, where the club were, the struggle back in League Two, it was one of those where you could maybe have seen it coming from a bit of a distance. It wasn't getting much better. They were playing good football at times, don't get me wrong. But the thing with Fleetwood is, they were playing good football most of the time. They just weren't getting results. And they, on a numerous type of occasion, lost quite a few games or dropped points in quite a few games where they were either in the lead by a couple of goals and they let a couple of goals slip, or they just couldn't hang on to any kind of lead, or potentially hang on to the rest of the game altogether. So their resilience, their game management has come into question, their lack of keeping a lead at times has come into question, and I think the form, when you look at it on the face of it, isn't the greatest form in the world. Now, obviously, there's much worse situations for much worse clubs, both on and off the pitch. But with Fleetwood, for example, they needed a man who would keep them stable and then push on from there next season to go into League One. Because I don't think it was Fleetwood's year this year. It wasn't Fleetwood's year this year. They'd signed some great players this summer, but it wasn't their year this year for me. However, the form has kind of fallen off a cliff to some extent, and the board had to make a necessary decision based on the run of form and where they were in the table. And unfortunately, it meant Charlie Adam's time has come to an end. Now, first of all, personally and professionally, my heart goes out to Charlie Adam, his family. Obviously, he'll be affected by this. You know, losing a job as a manager is never easy on a professional and personal level. So my best wishes goes to Charlie Adam and his family. Obviously, you know, we all wish them a Merry Christmas regardless. Hopefully they have a good Christmas anyway. Charlie Adam, for me, has the potential to be a great manager or a great head coach, with it being his first foray into management, a bit like Gary McSheffrey, really. It was kind of his first foray into a number one job. And for me, it just didn't end up working. And the board made the right decision in the end, in my opinion. When you look on results, it was the right decision to begin with. So my best goes out to Charlie Adam, but unfortunately, in a cutthroat industry, it's going to happen. Now then, what about the brand new man at the helm for the Cod Army, Pete Wild? Well, for those of you new to Pete Wild, let's have a look at his esteemed career so far. After successful managerial stints at Oldham Athletic, Halifax Town and Barrow AFC, the 40-year-old arrives at Highbury Stadium, and having managed at several levels of English football, Wild has a solid coaching background, developing his skills in the Oldham Athletic Academy system, starting his career in youth development. Notable accomplishments have characterised his managerial career, leading Oldham Athletic to a historic FA Cup victory over Premier League Fulham, demonstrating his technical prowess and capability to motivate his players to overcome formidable obstacles. Wild went on to lead Halifax Town in the National League with distinction before joining Barrow in League Two, when he was twice named EFL Manager of the Month and oversaw a notable turnaround in the team's performance. He has been out of work since he and Barrow parted ways in the summer, and with a few months out of management, Pete Wild must be eager to get back in the dugout and back in charge of another squad. Now then, before we talk about his style of play, how he'll probably set up, etc., I want to sort of share my thoughts, my initial reaction to the appointment of Pete Wild as Fleetwood Town head coach. I think it's a brilliant appointment. Yes, he's not won many trophies compared to other managers. He's had a couple of individual accolades. He's progressed teams to a certain point. He had the potential to really lead Barrow, but mentally, they just kind of switched off for the last few months of the season last season, and they lost their playoff spot, and we gained their playoff spot, funnily enough, as a Doncaster Rovers fan, for those of you who don't know. So Barrow, for me, kind of slipped away, and it was getting to a point where it was going to come to some kind of stalemate. Either he leaves, or they get rid of him, or they come to a mutual agreement to really back him and go all the way. So it was going to end one way or another for me. And Pete Wild is a great appointment for Fleetwood in terms of progressing young players, bringing in a nice young squad with some experience in there as well. He'll play a good system, which we'll go into a little bit in a moment. But for me, in terms of the appointment itself, yes, there was other men that could have been, at the helm for this particular job. However, Pete Wild, for me, despite his lack of trophies or success, I think that his ideal of progression in terms of the younger players, developing younger players, his idea of progression in terms of the overall team and the overall fan base and everything involved with a squad and with a football club, I think with that idea of progression comes that idea for opportunity. And I think that Pete Wild opens the door for opportunity at Fleetwood Town. I think he brings a progressive style, which we'll go on to a bit more in a moment. And I think that overall as an appointment, it's a name that will excite the fans because of the progress he made at Barrow, what he did with Halifax, what he's done at Oldham Athletic in the past. I think Pete Wild has a really good opportunity to really restart his career here and really start winning some trophies now, because he's one of the only managers, in my opinion, in the Football League that deserves to win a trophy who hasn't won one yet, or win promotion and hasn't won one yet. So Pete Wild for me is a great appointment, but now let's get into a bit more detail as to what he's about as a manager. So Pete Wild is known for adapting his strategies to suit the strengths of his squad and counter opponents. While favouring a 4-2-3-1 system, he can deploy alternative formations when needed. He has a keen eye for nurturing young talent and maximising the potential of his players, which is evident from his stints at clubs with limited budgets at the time, such as Barrow and Oldham. At Halifax Town, he established one of the league's best defensive records at the time, emphasising a well-drilled backline and disciplined team shape. He excels in managing clubs with smaller budgets and achieving results against higher profile opposition, making him a resilient and resourceful manager. Again, another huge trait for Fleetwood Town when it comes to big FA Cup giant killing clashes, as well as teams further up than Fleetwood Town in the division, and the chance for the Cod Army to go to their place or for their team to come to their place and actually get a result against these higher placed teams. His teams often capitalise on set piece opportunities with creative routines and aerial threats, forming a key part of his attacking arsenal. His teams occasionally struggle with maintaining performance levels over a full season, particularly during busy fixture periods, and whilst his teams can be defensively robust, his sides can sometimes lack flair in open play, relying more on structured attacks than spontaneous creativity on at least a number of occasions. Fleetwood Town's acquisition of Pete Wild signals an intent to build a competitive squad while fostering a sustainable footballing identity. And here as a neutral, we cannot wait to see what transpires out of Highbury Stadium. So then, to summarise it a bit more, Pete Wild will play some progressive football, attacking on the front foot, utilise the set pieces, and he will be an impressive manager for Fleetwood Town, or has the potential to be an impressive manager for Fleetwood Town, if he can just keep improving on that consistency, keep using the creative arsenal locked away in that squad, bring in the players necessary in January to unlock certain players in that squad and bring the most out of fellow teammates in that squad. Pete Wild has a really good opportunity, and I do think that if he brings in the right players and the board back him to the fullest of their ability, I think that we could potentially be seeing the 2025-26 League Two champions in Fleetwood Town. I genuinely believe that Fleetwood Town has a real shot of winning the league next season if they really utilise the January window, utilise summer next year, and really build a squad capable of dominating League Two, which is usually a competitive league where everyone could get beat on any given day, and the tightest of margins could determine titles and promotions. I think Fleetwood Town has the potential to dominate potentially next season. And Pete Wild has the opportunity to do that if the board back him to the full and he brings in the right personnel to accomplish that and really finally bring him trophies and promotions. The main thing lacking from his managerial career, and for these players as well, some of these players that felt structured, this is their opportunity to be unlocked under this manager. And this is an opportunity for Fleetwood to really embrace their creative freedom a lot more under this manager in certain situations. So then, Pete Wild is through the door at Fleetwood Town. But now, guys, I want to hear from all of you. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this appointment. Make sure you like the video if you've loved it, subscribe if you're new around here, and click the notification bell so you never miss another video. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now. That is full time, and Merry Christmas.